Hey sports fans, it's a nice warm day today. I haven't got the shop cleaned up yet, but since it's so warm, I'm gonna put the proper exhaust on the terrible toy. Our Mickey Mouse Hillbilly exhaust system served us well for the week we needed it until my pipe showed up, but now we'll show you how to, I showed you how to do it the wrong way, now we'll show you how to do it the right way. Okay, so here's the proper pipe I ordered online. I imagine that the donuts are bad. I'll have to buy them locally. Maybe I should have ordered them when I ordered the pipe. And hopefully I'll be able to get a gasket for this flange. And I'm going to make a flange to go on my muffler. And then we'll buy some pipe and we'll make a short tail pipe. It'll come out at a 45-degree angle in front of the rear tire. That's the plan. So let's get cracking. Alright, since I got the snow plow off this truck, it's also probably a pretty good time to do this. I don't have to take the plow off because it's already off. So, shift left-handed. Get her in reverse. It's so much harder to shift left-handed than it is right-handed. I wonder why that is. There we go. Just a thing I thought I'd show you there, as long as it happened. You see how much easier it was to get the truck into reverse after I shifted it into first? Same thing is true when you're driving down the road. You come to a stop sign. It's a lot easier. As you're in fifth gear, you come to a stop. It's a lot easier to put it in second, and then it's easier to get it in first. I don't know why. Maybe it's because first doesn't have synchros in it, and first gear, and second does, so it makes it a little bit easier to get her into first gear. When on a lot of manual transmission vehicles, you can shift into second before you shift it to first. It just makes it easier to get into first gear. I don't know why, but I just noticed it does. Okay, we got this truck in, and now we will get to work. I really love this truck because it's so high off the ground. I don't have to jack it up to work on it. Now, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put on our new pipe. And fortunately, these gaskets here, these little donuts, look like they're in pretty decent shape, so I can reuse them, thank God, because the Autoport store didn't have them in stock. So I'll have to carefully try to remove this one without breaking it, and we'll put that one on there and get this pipe bolted up. Alright, the first thing I'll do is I'll take off my old exhaust system, a temporary Hillbilly one. It served us well for a week. Here we go. Muffler's off, no worse for wear. Now comes the hard part. Now we'll take off the pipe off the manifold. I'll show you what we're going to be dealing with here. Probably ain't going to be able to film this, but I'll give you an idea of what we're looking at. Okay. You see that? That's where one of your bolts for your pipe. The other one is, let's see if we can see it. There's one, there's two. Can you see that? Yeah, right on the very top of that pipe. I might not be able to get it on the camera, but that's what I'm going to be dealing with. Obviously, I'm not going to be able to video me taking them off. I'm almost certainly going to have to heat them up with a torch. We'll see what happens. None of the nuts on this exhaust manifold were interested in coming off all by themselves. 0 out of 3. So what we're going to have to do here, there's the third end. That was kind of hard to see, but 0 out of 3 were interested in coming off, so I'm going to have to heat them up with a torch. And this kind of sucks because I'll have to heat them up with a torch and then bring the torch down and shut off the torch and get the wrench on it before it gets so cold that heating it didn't do any good. So kind of hate these jobs where I gotta do things like that. Here it's where it really comes in handy to have a helper. You could have somebody hold the torch for you, but I'm on my own, so. All right, here's one other thing, sports fans. Okay, these nuts aren't coming off on their own on this flange where the front pipe bolts to the exhaust manifold. You can tell just by trying to turn them off by hand with the socket wrench, it ain't coming. But if you think that you're going to be able to get this job done without heat, forget about it. You're just going to end up breaking off them studs that go in the exhaust manifold, and then you're going to have bigger problems. This is one of them areas where there's no getting around it. If you haven't got a way to heat it up, you're going to have to go someplace that does, have a buddy, go to a buddy's place that does, have him bring over a torch. You might be able to get by buying yourself a can of MAP gas, not propane, those yellow cylinders. The MAP gas might get it hot enough so you can get it done, but let's get our torch lit and see what we can do. Okay, so got my torch and my camera. I got colored glasses, tinted goggles. So who knows how much of this is getting in frame. And it's not really the best feel because I can't really concentrate on what I'm doing, trying to get it in frame. But I'm going to show you this one that's going to be the same process on the others that are more difficult to get to. But I'm going to heat this up, and hopefully I'm not going to set any grease or anything on fire. Won't be quite as big a worry when I'm not filming this. And like I say, how much is even getting in frame here? I honestly don't know. But it just gives you an idea what I'm doing. I'm trying to heat up, and I got to try to heat up this nut rather than the stud. Okay. Now it might not look like I'm doing it the most efficient way, and I'm not because I'm holding the camera, and I don't even know if it's in frame. But this is just to give you an idea of what I'm doing. I gotta get that nut red hot, and then I gotta try turning it off with my socket wrench. Okay, do you hear that squeaking? I can't really hold the camera on it, but that squeaking means we're getting there. I'll try and get it on frame, one-handed using the ratchet. This is all I'm gonna video of this. I'm gonna do the other ones without videoing it. But then you heat it up, and if you hear that squeak, and then she's coming off, and there she goes. I got her. Got that one loosened up. Haven't got her all the way off yet, but she is coming. So looks like it's there we go. Looks like it's a double nut for some reason or other. I'm gonna have to get a deep socket and do it again. Okay, but there's your idea. That's the last I'm gonna film of that. All right, just one for the everything's a bigger pain in the ass than you expected file. First of all these nuts here are fine thread metric nuts of a pretty big outside diameter relative to their the stud size or bolt size that goes in them. And they're also fine thread. They're fine thread metric. So good luck finding the right one at a store, right? So when I'm working on their car, I don't want to lose something. I kind of put it underneath the tire. The reason I'm moving a screwdriver, of course, is because they're hot. They're double nutted too. You know, if it ain't bad enough, I had to take off one. Here I have to take off two. So I got both nuts off that first stud. There's our second stud. And I got off the first nut, but I didn't get the second one. It cooled down and got too tight. And also, there was some crud. I couldn't get the socket to fit on at first. So I monkeyed around with that. Tried using the next bigger standard inch size. And that kind of slipped, but at least it cleaned some of the crud off. And then I was able to, and by the way, these are 17 millimeter nuts. So now I'm able to get the 17 millimeter on by pounding it, but I can't get the thing to turn, and I'm not going to force it. on things like exhaust studs going to manifolds, if it don't come easy, let it go. You know, heat it up again, because if it's either going to be, you're either going to be able to turn these off easily, or you're gonna snap that stud. So if it's not coming easy, back up a step and heat her up again. Okay, guys, show you a little mechanics trick here. My universal was just a little too sloppy and floppy, so an old trick is to just tape it with, well, whatever kind of tape you can find. In this case, I used friction tape, and that'll keep that universal from flopping out of the direction that you want to have it as you put it on the nut. All right, sports fans. So there's our old pipe. Got that out, and boy, I tell you, you can't use that flex pipe more than once. Once you cinch a muffler clamp down on that, that's all done. And holy cow, 1 week. Look how rusty it is already. So some pretty crappy stuff, but it got us by. You know, I was able to drive the truck without getting any tickets. The tickets cost more than that $8 piece of pipe. So here's our new pipe, and actually it's quite hard to find an exhaust pipe for a '85 Toyota truck. Even online it was hard to find. I got this one online, but this is technically for like a '94 runner, but 4Runner pickup, same difference. It looks to be pretty much the same pipe as the old one. It does have a, that's probably an oxygen sensor bung, and I'll just build a knockoff plate for that, block-off plate for that, and you know, those studs on that, they might come in handy for some exhaust hanging, for an exhaust hanger. I'll use the muffler that I bought already, and we'll put our muffler here like that, and I'll build a flange to match that existing flange, and I'll weld the flange onto the muffler. I think that's my best plan of attack there. And now the only other thing I have to do is I have to see if I can locally source an exhaust gasket for that flange. And the other thing is see if I can locally source some of these donuts, but I think if I can't, I can reuse these. So they seem to be okay. So I think no matter what, we'll be able to rock and roll here. So now it's off to the auto parts store to get some parts. I'm going to get a few feet of 2-inch pipe to make a tail pipe, and I'll have it just go on a 45 and exit in front of the rear tire. One other thing I thought was something, I never had this happen before. I was heating up one of these nuts, and well, the sucker just kind of broke in half. Kind of weird. It broke in half, and it broke in half while I was heating it, not while I was turning it with a wrench. And you know, it looks like I got it too hot, but holy cow, you know, I didn't. Most of the nut and stud weren't even red hot yet, and it just broke in half, but it worked to my advantage. It's kind of a pain getting all those nuts off, but when you're dealing with something like this, if you can get the nuts off without breaking the exhaust studs or without stripping off the exhaust studs, that's all you can hope for. You have something like this happen, or if it's a pain in the ass to get the nuts off, well, that's just the way it is. That comes with the territory. So let's go get our parts and put this piece of shit back together. All right, sports fans, I'm back, and this is what we're going to do. We're going to put this front pipe here, hook it up to the manifold, then I'm going to build a flange. We'll use that gasket. I'll build a flange similar to what's at the end of that pipe there. Weld that to that muffler, and then we will have the pipe exit out in front of the rear tire. That is the plan there. So let's see what happens. Now, sports fans, I got to show you one thing. I think I kind of solved the mystery of why that one nut broke in half. I got a magnet here, and look, it's not magnetic, and neither is that one. Neither is that one. And this is the one I took to compare to get the same size and same thread pitch and everything when I bought new ones. Obviously, I didn't expect it not to be magnetic, but when I was looking at it, yeah, it did look kind of brass colored there. So that's a fine thread brass metric nut. Brass or some material like it, which would probably work pretty good for exhaust manifolds, because they probably wouldn't rust out, and maybe make them come off a little bit easier. But all these other ones here, those were the original ones. They're magnetic. At least those two were. Let's see here. Yeah, that one's magnetic. And that one's magnetic. And of course the brand new ones I bought were. So now I got enough nuts to, you know, replace them when I put the thing back together. But I just thought I'd point that out. Kind of solves the mystery of the broken nut.